Good morning, good morning. What's up, everyone? Welcome to our Tuesday RTH session. Let's go take a look and see what we should expect today. So our overnight inventory is short, right? You can see the majority of the trading. The blue stuff is 70%. You add a little bit of this green. So I'd say it's probably 80% short. Okay? You'll notice that the bottom of the cost basis is pretty much the same as the bottom of yesterday's cost basis. So really, even though inventory is short, we're inside yesterday's range and yesterday's cost basis. Now, a fancy way of saying cost basis is value area. And that's where 70% of the inventory is priced. 30% of it is priced down here. So really, it's kind of business as usual. No real big change from yesterday. Now, because inventory is 70 to 80% short, we're looking for a move higher, right? We're looking for a move up to the close. And so far, we just haven't been able to get there. You know, if we look at the corrections to overnight inventory that we've had, we haven't been able to go tag the close. We've gotten close to it, but you can see very clearly there's like a 73, 74 seller. There's an active seller at that level. So if we were to correct inventory upwards, we're trading 68 now. Say you're going log, you're going to be looking for sellers. Well, VWAP is at 70, so there's obviously going to be a little seller there. And then when we get up to that 72, 73, 74 level, you could anticipate some sellers. Now, if we've got all of the inventory secure underneath, and we get a decent amount of buying, we'll get a move up here to go sell this inventory here. Right? That's pretty much it. So that's what we're looking for. On the downside, if you're looking for a short, you know, say it gets up to 72, 73 and you decide to short it. Well, we'll just use these levels as targets on the downside to cover. Okay? Now, when we open inside yesterday's range and inside yesterday's cost basis, that's going to be choppy. So you get that back and forth. So expect slow, kind of choppy price action. The other thing is that this market, unfortunately, it's starting to get, well, there's short position on top of short position on top of short position. And every time we get any kind of a liquidation, the supply shuts off, the market goes back up, and it traps more shorts, which makes the price action really kind of crappy. So the higher the market gets on a short squeeze, the worse the price action gets. You kind of lose that smoothness, right? It's not bad at times. So let's go see now we're correcting inventory upward. My balance level is 64 half to 68 quarter. It's working kind of nicely. As we come up here, we're looking for VWAP around 70 and change. And above that, you have sellers up at 72 and 73. Right? Pretty simple. Hey, Jaden, how are you? So we always mark where the sellers are anticipated. And you can see the market is just kind of pauses there. VWAP's on top. So say you were long, 68, 67. This is an area where you take a little profit. Now, if you're a larger trader and you're willing to hold, you can hold if you see the market is starting to offer above VWAP. Then we'll be looking for 72, and then the sellers are here again. Right? But if you're a scalper and you want to make a couple of points, and you're long, and you know that the sellers are going to be there, as they are right there, right? I'm good, Jaden. I'm good. See how they're selling into it? It's pretty simple. Yeah, and you're right, Moran. We do have singles here, right? We have this little chunk of single prints here. Should have marked that out. It's another reason why we have some selling, because we have supply. A little bit of supply. Also, the point of control from yesterday is there as well. So there is a little bit of supply above us. And let's see how we deal with that today. Sorry, I'm just trying to find... there it is. Yesterday's point of control is right there. And that's where most of the inventory from yesterday is priced. So there you go, folks. If you want to learn how to trade with some common sense, you want to make sure that you sell your position before the people here get your customer. So say you paid a little high. Especially if you pay high. Say you didn't get it here. Say you bought it at 69. It's not the greatest trade in the world, is it, to sell it at 70? And you may want this, but the market might not agree with you. Right? You once said that we do not have liquid markets. We have markets, for retail they're liquid, but they're not set up to sell large amounts of stock into. These markets are taken up deliberately and quietly and marked up. It's a whole macro thing. The positions are used as collateral, all of that sort of stuff. It's liquid enough for you to trade, Agatha. A lot of the stuff I say, I'll talk about market structure and things like that. But what you really want to focus on, right, is your trading. Everything else is kind of, explanation of how things work, right? The main thing that you really want to focus on is where do I put my trade? Where do I put my stop? What is the reason that I'm doing this? What's the business reason? So I know when to get out of it, right? So say you're long here, right? Say you held that long and you were long at 69 and you didn't sell it at 70. It came all the way back down to 68 and a quarter and you're still long. Well, what you have going for you is that inventory is short. What you've got going against you is there's a seller at VWAP. So if you are scalping, it's not going to be the best scalping environment in a tight range. Is Trump talking again too? You just never know. Alrighty. Hey, Raj. Thank you. And good morning to everyone on YouTube that's just joining us. A little this is distribution of this. Right. You know, we have inventory between 6 and 7, and we're selling it between 68 and 70. Wait for it to open. You know, when the setup is there, take the trade. If the setup's not there, don't take the trade. Right? Hey, Joe, how you doing? Oh, cool. It's nice to know the YouTube algos are working. Good to know. So everyone's wondering, is this the day that we liquidate? Do we finally get some selling? Well, right now, market's pretty well bid at 60. It's pretty tough to get this thing underneath 59.60 and hold it there. Inventory is about 80% short. I honestly think we're just going to get chop, maybe between 60 and 80. We're 84% short, right, Sadiq? But we've got sellers. We've got sellers. So when it's kind of mixed like that, when the market's saying 84% short, but you're seeing selling pressure, what I like to do is I like to sit and watch and wait until those sellers have exhausted themselves. So what's going to happen is they're either going to get out of everything they need to sell, or if they're like wholesalers, they're just going to wait for some buyers to raise price. But in the meantime, they'll sell where they can. Cumulative delta has nothing to do with inventory. Just so you know. Delta, right, if you use the delta on Sierra chart, it's the bid-ask tick volume, the difference, right? So when delta is positive, it means people are taking the offer. When delta is negative, it means people are hitting the bid. You can't really infer a lot from that. I don't use it at all. Right now, I can see that there's a seller, at 69.70. They stop selling when we go under 68. Now, as we come back up to 69, where does the seller step in? I can tell the short-term inventory is underneath us. I don't need delta to see that the volume here is being sold here. Right? It's really simple. It's like people love to overcomplicate this stuff. But you can see that this volume here is being distributed here. Right? Real simple. It's funny, we had a philosophical discussion this morning. We were talking about, is trading the only business where people have to completely go bankrupt before they learn anything? Or can people actually learn this business without having to put themselves through bankruptcy? Because everybody says, oh, you got to lose money to learn, right? I'm like, well, that doesn't really work in other businesses. You have maybe bad days, but if you went into business with the intention of going bankrupt to then become successful, I don't know. But nobody thinks about it that way. I don't know the answers. Running into those sellers at 70 again. Yeah, it's a good thing they have prop firms. But should people treat prop firms as practice? Or should they just treat them as a video game? Like they do. Right? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. That's true, Bow Hunter. You do make mistakes. But do you burn your business to the ground every time? Just something I'm thinking about. I'm just trying to figure out a way to teach you guys that's not frustrating for you and frustrating for me. The only thing I'm doing when I ask these questions is I'm trying to improve how I teach so I can make people more successful. Right? Exactly, Joe. That's how we're taught in the business, right? Like we're taught not to lose a lot of money. In fact, when you start on a trade desk, they have their hand around your throat so tight. Right? They don't put up with stuff like tilt, FOMO, those kinds of things. So let's see. Now we're getting into that 70 area, creeping up slowly, looking for VWAP. And of course, there's a seller right there. Exactly. All I'm trying to do is trying to figure out how to communicate in a way that helps people. Right? That's why I'm here. I mean, I know how to trade. I know how to trade. I know how to do deals. Right? That's not a big deal for me. That's the business I was raised in. I know what I'm doing. What I'm trying to do is help people so they can maybe sidestep some of the pain. I don't know. I'm a big believer in trading psychology before you lose all your money. Right? Like, how can you use the business, right? When you see like candle patterns like this choppy kind of stuff, your brain should relax and not try and chase that. Then you don't get stopped out as much, right? It's just simple business. You wait till the edges to take trades. Hey, Christian, how are you? least I got you guys talking. Yesterday it was so quiet, nobody was saying anything. Oh. Hey, Ronan, how are you? I'm good. I'm good. Sadiq, I'm cautiously long biased. I'm long biased until we get to 72 and a half. Right? You know, it's like what's his name? Gordon Gecko says when they ask him his feelings about something, he goes, mixed feelings. It's like Lawrence Wildman driving off a cliff, but in my Maserati. Right? Mixed emotions. Right? I'm cautiously long because inventory is 84% short, and I'm seeing bids at 67. Right? But I know that there's sellers at 72 and a half, and there's sellers at 73. Now they've been there all Globex because the single prints, right? So if we get some decent order flow, some decent customers coming in, right? We might be able to blow through the 73s and get up and tag the close. That's the move. I'd like to see us at least try and tag that close. If we can't, I think we'll rotate back down. What I want to do is I want to wait for the market to open, and when it opens, it's going to tell me the rotation. Once it tells me the rotation, I'll feel a little better about just trading that opening rotation. I like a nice rotation, because once you get a good rotation going, you can just trade, draw your box and then just trade from the outside in, you know? And that way, it's like less stressful. Like, for example, here, you've got a 71, maybe 67 rotation, right? And that rotation, this rotation here, is the distribution of this rotation. You see? So as we come down, we should kind of slow down on the selling when we get to this level here. And if we don't, that means we've got a fire sale and it's going to come down to 64. I never want to feel like I'm in a rush to trade. Always find yourself at a disadvantage. You see how it slowed down when it came in here? Right? We said it was going to come into this area, and indeed it came in, slowed down, and back up. It's okay. Sit and do a little watching. Observe what's happening before you jump in. Yeah, yeah. Don't do the headless chicken thing at the open. Don't chase it around. If you had to choose a time block to create a balance zone for an algo, geez, I don't know, Pollux, about an algo, but I do a balance zone every morning, right? I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and then I go and look for a balance zone. And it's usually before or after I wake up. I don't really pay attention to the time, right? I just want to see two-sided trade. Like here's one that I did. This is a bigger one I did that was here. 59 to 66 and 3/4. I never, I'm time agnostic. I just want to see whether the zone works. The reason it doesn't matter is because the inventory is all the same. It's not like in the morning we're selling oranges and in the afternoon we're running a hair salon and then at nighttime we got a tire shop. Right? You're just selling the same inventory through the entire 23-hour period. So it's just the rotation. I hope that helps, Pollux. Yes, don't be lazy, Michael. If you see the trade, take the trade. If you see the trade and it fits your setup, by all means take the trade. I'm not telling people not to trade. I'm just saying when you first come in and sit down and you have no idea what's going on, take a little time and assess the market before you jump in. That's all I'm saying. Right? If you saw that 66 to 68 trade, nothing wrong with that. By all means, take it. What's up, LC? How you doing? Alrighty. So short-term inventory is above us. Even though overall overnight inventory is short, where current price is now at 62, all of this is trapped long over 64. So let's see what happens when we open down a less than half a minute here. See if we get a seller at 64. Map it out a little bit. Take your time and then by all means trade up a storm. Keep your brokerage and commissions. Yeah, I'm not saying don't trade. I'm just saying trade smart. And we're off. Under 60 and 3/4, I'm looking for 57. If we can't get back, if we can't stay under 61, we're going to rotate up like we are now. Seller at 64. Tight little opening range here. A little long here. 64. Out at 66 and a quarter. It's just one contract. One micro. Looking to see if we hold 64 again. So that's the trades that you were talking about, Michael. Yeah, I only trade the ES. I don't trade anything else. I like to focus. I just find it's a simpler way to do business is to just trade one product for me. Now, that doesn't mean you should only trade one thing. You can trade whatever you want. But I like trading a market that I know well. And I really think it's more important to trade one thing well than to trade like three things really badly. I was thinking about buying 65 again, but I hesitated, and that was a good thing. Let's see if we can get back up over 65. So seller at 67. Not much follow through on either direction yet. So we stay over 65. Well, nobody really wants to buy this morning. There we go. 65. Let's see if we can get up over 66. Oh, come on, take me at 3/4, you dirty rat. No, I'm out at 66 and a half. Ah, the order flow has been really weird in the last 2 or 3 weeks. That's a really, really good observation. Right? And if you want a clue as to why, look at April. Look at the month of April. Look what happened in the month of April. And this is where a little knowledge of the business kind of helps. Did anything kind of strange happen in April? That's a rhetorical question. Yeah, sell-off is a bit of a, you know, an understatement. We also had 500-point ranges, right? We had a massive change in the way this thing does business. So that's going to create some trepidation. People are going to be a little bit more nervous. And then now we're trading on a big gap. Remember the big gap? Or have you guys forgotten the gap? We got a big gap. A lot of trap shorts in that gap. A lot of trap shorts since that gap. Right? So we kind of got a rotation here from 60 to maybe 66 and a half, 67. But I don't like this price action just yet enough for me to overtrade. Right? So I'll just kind of sit and wait. Yeah, you had a material change. So that's why the order flow is weird. And that's a good, it shows you, Trader M, that your instincts are right. Right? When the order flow changes, it means the business is changing. Or is trying to change and keep up, or trying to figure it out. Right? That's good looking out. Now I'm looking for those stops at 58. Can we come down and tickle the 58s? Point of controls down there. Yeah, we're right at the bottom of yesterday's cost basis, but nobody is really that desperate to buy it. So our current rotation is this. And if it holds that rotation, then you can just trade that rotation. Right? You can buy 61, 62, put your stop underneath 60, and then sell into the 64, 65s. Now, if we break 60 and can't get back up over 60, don't go long. Right? Like here, just leave it alone. Let them sell it off. Let the large traders find the bid. Let them find the buyers. Right? There's a seller now at 60 and 3/4. Once we clean that seller out, we'll get back up above it. And if you're going long, then you go long a little bit, put your stop here, and sell into this strength. Now, these trades are not, I'm going to get a private plane trades, okay? But the rotation worked, right? So for you gun to the head traders, you know, what did I say? I say you buy the 60s, add, put your stop underneath, sell into the 64s. Because there's a seller there. Right? And that's the current rotation that we've got. You might want 30 or 40 points, but that's all the market's giving you right now. So, you know, that was the rotation I was looking at. Now the sellers are selling at 65. How much starting capital would you suggest for one mini contract? I would suggest you get a funded account, Trader M. Pay one of those prop firms whatever it is, and learn how to trade, pass the evaluations, and try and get a payout so you can learn some good business discipline, that's what I recommend. Yeah, I recommend that you do not trade your own money. You will lose money when you first start trading. That's just a fact of life. Nobody ever just starts trading and starts making money. The other thing I'd do if I were you is if you don't know anything about markets is, and I know this sounds a little bit like advertising, I'd pay for some education. Right? So that's 66 and three quarters that worked. A lot of people don't want to pay for education, but they'll lose 5, 10 grand trading, but they won't pay to learn how to trade. It's a different industry because nobody looks at it like a skill. They think just because they have a computer that they have the right to make money. Yeah, there's a lot of free stuff on the internet. You could also be picking up a lot of garbage. So anybody that you listen to or, ask them what is the business reason for the trade. If they can't explain the business reason for the trade, I'd be suspicious. Like right now, if I was going to go long at 60, right, the business reason for that trade is that we don't have to sell under 60 and the market's going to rotate higher. So if I'm long at 60, right, I'll put my stop at like 59. So if the business reason for my trade goes away, my business transaction is insured, right? And if it takes out 59, well, that's life. But if I'm long here 60, then I'm going to put my sell order at maybe 62, 63, 64. As it rotates up, like it's doing right now, there's the business reason for the trade, and I just showed you in real time, right? Well, it's the business, right? It's very simple. That's the business at this time. You may want it higher, you may want it lower, but the market really doesn't care what you want. If the price is above the inventory, then moves under, it means you got a sale. If you buy like 1,000 units for something at $3, and you go sell it at 5, and then you got to put it on sale back down to 3. And if there's really no buyers, you might have to put it on sale and sell it at 2, just to get rid of it. Hope that makes sense. Let's see if we can take out that A low. The choppier it gets, the less you're going to want to trade. right? And when the rotations start getting really small, you know, you've got to look at your risk reward. And does it make sense? You know? Does it make sense for me to put money on the line? Right? I'll use there. Exactly. So it's exactly what I'm saying. And that's what I've been saying for a long time, Christian. Knowing where the current rotations are, help you set realistic business expectations instead of having pie in the sky idealistic outcomes. That's probably not going to hit, right? There has to be some sort of practicality to business, right? This is not a slot machine. You know, it's not a game in Vegas, right? It's a business. And right now, nobody really wants to buy this thing. So you shouldn't be expecting 20 points on a long, given what's going on in the business right now, right? Exactly. But unless it's the really slowest and most dull markets, right? Unless you've got a really slow, dull market. Ooh, let's go check out that overnight low. Here we go. You should be able to carve out a couple of points here and there, unless it's really slow. Right. I'm short a little at 53, covering one at 51 and a quarter, and then I had to take the offer at 51 and three quarters. Hit it again at 52 and three quarters, and covered at 52. Not the greatest execution, but we should be. If we can't get above 53, we'll get a rotation back down. So we caught a little bid. There's that overnight low. There should be a seller at the overnight low. If we reclaim the overnight low, be very, very careful. Right? If we get back inside the overnight range, that's a look below and fail of the overnight low. You need that seller to show up. Right? If that seller doesn't show up there, you can quickly get into trouble. Right? The overnight low is just at 55 and a quarter. These markets have an annoying way of running out of steam, out of supply. Just when everybody gets short. See, look at all that short covering coming in there. You see that? So if you're short under 56 and that offer keeps moving lower, you can stay short. The problem is, there we go, short, see, I was short 53.63, and as soon as I came into my 52 bid, it just jumped. It just jumped. So I'll take it back cheaper. Well, I don't mind paying up. Gotta really be on top of this sucker. Right, into those stops at 51. So overnight inventory is short, but it's not correcting. So we have a lack of buyers. We really don't have a lot of sellers. The reason why it's just drifting lower here is we just have a lack of buying. And you can tell by the price action. Right? Every time it starts to rally, it just kind of runs out of steam, runs out of steam, runs out of steam. Just things to notice. I'm long 56, and I'm flat. Got two more contracts to sell off my 56 long, and I'm out. I was short biased here, and I took a couple of shorts, and I kind of screwed them up. Then I saw that when we came back over 55 and a quarter, stop shorting it. Now we're going to get a bit more correction. Right? But I had to go screw this up first. Like you heard me going, I shorted it. Right? You could hear me struggling, right? Right here. Right? So it took me screwing up here to figure this out. That's okay. Now let's see if we get that correction to overnight inventory. It's okay to be wrong. Just be wrong small. Right? So you can adapt and make the money back. Right? Those quick pops are short covering. Definitely, Christian. Definitely. Oh, I got to DM you, Kristen. One sec. Sent you a message. Nice, Stocko. Nice, nice, nice. Beautiful. There we go. Now it finally woke up. We had to put it on sale down to 52 to bring in buyers. It's just like a store. Right? Nobody wanted to buy it here. Right? Nobody wanted to buy it here. Right? Until we put it on sale, and then all of a sudden people will pay 64 when nobody wanted to pay 62 20 minutes later. Before. Pretty amazing. Yeah, Taco went looking for bids under that overnight low, and you found them. Right? Nice look below and fail of the overnight low. Beautiful, Taco. Good stuff. Now we're going to backfill a little bit, right? Some sellers here. Bid sellers here all morning, right? Why they wouldn't sell there again, right? So now it's going to rotate back down. Let's see if it can hold that 58 level. It was a nice move from 54 up to 64. That's a nice 10-point trade. Let's see. So we know that under 56, that brings in those Walmart buyers, you know? Under 56, that's where the Black Friday buyers come in, right? They start beating each other over the head for TVs. So that's good to know. Let's see if we get back down there again. I hate trading in the middle. I really dislike trading in the middle of the zone. And that's where we are right now. That's okay, Mike. You got to trade what you're comfortable with, right? And as your level of skill builds up, you know, nobody trades fast reversals well off the bat, right? That's okay. You know, everybody, that's the nice thing about retail is you can trade whatever suits your personality, whatever suits your skill level at the time, you know. I'm seeing some bids at 57, 56. I think it's beneficial to trade off the facts and what's actually really going on. And the one thing that I find liberating is if I don't know what's going on, to just admit I don't know what's going on. And if I can't figure something out, I'll say, you know what? I don't know what the hell's going on right now. Let me watch it and see if I can figure it out. And when you do that, you kind of chill. And then your brain kind of relaxes a little bit. Then you can start absorbing the information. You know, and the other thing is don't be afraid to be wrong. You're going to be wrong. You're wrong, you know, just be able to learn from being wrong quickly. Like when I was trying to short down here in those 52s and all of a sudden it would rip. And I did that twice before I clued in. I was like, oh, right? It's like, you try and catch a fish and, it might have caught a shark, right? It has not been an easy market to trade for the last 2 months, right? It's changed and then it's changed back again. And I'm sure by the end of the month it'll change again. right? So as retail traders, we have to be able to adapt to that change, right? And adapt not only our trading but our risk, right? Now the market's slower, the ranges are smaller. After they held everybody upside down and shook out all of their positions in April, right? Here we go, 57 up to 60 again. Little look below and fail of 57. It's hard to get the Goldilocks market where it's just right for what you want, right? Sometimes it's too choppy, that it's too volatile, but I want the market to be just like this. And the market's like, well, I don't really care. Right? Over 60 and 3/4 target 64. So look below and fail of 57. Yeah. I would sell before VWAP. That's me because I'm cheap. If I was long some at 57, 58, I'd let them have it with both barrels at 61, 62. And that's why, because the price comes back on you. Right? You really, if you're learning how to trade, you really want to trade the market that exists. Right? If I could buy 58 and sell 61 for 3 points, I'll do that all day. I'll take those 3 points, and you know, I'm not ashamed to make 3 points. Pays the phone bill. It might take some time, Phil, S-Pill, right? It might take some time under VWAP. And remember, whether the market goes above VWAP or stays below VWAP is really dependent on one thing. What is the flow of customers coming in? So we've got some aggressive buying down at 51, 52. As we get from 52 to 57, not bad. And then that buying kind of peters out around 62. So if you are a market maker, where would you price most of your goods? If you know that the aggressive buying is down here, and you know that they really don't want it here, well, you're going to kind of sell the most product here, right? That's how you make a market. Because it's about volume. How much volume can I move? Right? They're hungry for it under 54. They're bored at 64. Right? So, hey, if they're buying 60, 59, load them up. Right? Sell them everything you got. Rotating up to 64 and a half. Might have an inside bar with B period. Right? These are basically nothing but half an hour candles that show the volume per tick. That's all market profile is. Right? So you can see the cost basis compared to the cost basis of last night. And we have sellers at 64. And where it gets frustrating is if you buy up here and you're waiting for that breakout on days where you're not as likely to have a breakout. That's kind of tough. So that's why we like to trade from the outside in, and we trade the edges of this red zone. Whoop. Now we rotate back down to 57. There's 57. Right? Back up to 60 and 3/4. Wait for the next candle to open. Nice work, Jam. Nice work. So this is a market. It's not that there's a lot of selling. There's just a lack of buying. Right? Nobody wants to buy it at this price. Right? They don't want to buy it aggressively at this price. That's for sure. I think we'll break out of the overnight range now. Just a little bit. Go see if we could take out that A low. I'm curious to see what's lurking under 47. Oh, another look below and fail of the overnight low. See, this is really, this will drive people crazy. That'll drive people crazy. Just when you're getting ready to short it, it gets accepted back in the overnight range. But if you don't have the perfect trade location and you chase price higher, now it's going to run out of steam and go lower and shake you out. So these are the markets where you really, really want to manage your business where you're only doing business from the outside in. And you let the market screw around and do this. That way you don't get sucked into it. Now we have a seller at 58. Every time we get close to 58, they come in and whack it. I think we're going to go down and check those singles out. Here we go. Foiled again on the short, Sadiq. I didn't take the short, but I was like, man, here we go again. You know, as short biased as I am, got to trade to the long side, right? If I was going to take a long, do the look below and fail. If it holds 58, you're golden. You know, and you want to be a seller at 63. Man, look at that. Just absolutely crap for follow through. Really crappy for follow through. And this is the kind of price action, folks. If you're a new trader and you're trying to trade this, and you're like, okay, we're back above the overnight low. I'm going to use the levels, go long 58, put my stop at 57 or 56 and a half. Oh, I'm stopped out. And then 2 seconds later, it's back above. Just maybe sit and wait for better price action, right? Or you're going to have to use larger stops and let the trades work longer, right? But whatever you do, make sure, yeah, it's very destructive action, right? Well, it's really not that people are laughing. It's just the business really sucks right now, Mike. There's not enough business for decent follow through. So if you are long, like if you went long at 58, sell some at 60, right? Don't be a Scrooge and be a dick for a couple of ticks. You got to sell into strength. Otherwise, don't do business, right? A lot of people think that this is done on purpose. It's not. It's they could care less what we're doing. We're basically, you know, we're a fly on the ass of an elephant. So it's just that the price action, the amount of customers coming into the store is such a trickle that you don't get that big green candle that we're waiting for, right? And this is where a lot of retail traders get chopped up. One way to get around it, but if you don't know what you're doing and you can't build a position, don't do it. right, is you build little long positions, use risk management, right, and sell into those little moves higher, right? It's actually choppier than Globex, Jaden. Globex is slow, but it's usually not this choppy. Yeah, exactly, Jim. Exactly. Right? Definitely. You can really get stopped out so much, right? It's just and that'll really screw with somebody's head, right? Right? And that's when you start questioning everything. You go long, you get stopped out. You go short, you get stopped out. What it means is just put the mouse down, right? Just put the mouse down and wait for business conditions to improve. I don't know. Hopefully, you guys can get some sense out of what I'm saying, and it'll help you. It's just a slow day in Walmart. Let's see what's going on in equity land. Apple 208, Amazon 204. How's Boeing? Ah, back to back over 108, over 188. That's good to see. Coin's doing okay after its hack. I like Corning. Google 166. Meta's back over 600 firmly. Nice. Well, everybody's happy. Look at Microsoft go, eh? Little engine that could. Nike not so good. Nvidia, we got to get over that 135, 136 area. That's where the inventory is above there. And PLTR. Man, that stock trades nice. Ever since they cleaned that up, it's beautiful. Tesla 345. Let's see the Qs. 510, 519. Not bad. How's that crazy VRT? 106. Cool. And as you can see, the ES, ever since we took that little round trip into equities land, it has done nothing. 59.20, Milan? Oh, it's just the middle of a zone. 59.20 is the halfway point between 5900 and 5940. That's all. So for folks in the room, we're going to do a price action lab at 11. Be about half an hour. Hope you guys have questions. If you don't, it'll go from half an hour to about 5 minutes. I hope things will pick up this afternoon. Hey, there we go. Just as we said that, look, the two biggest candles of the session. Nice. Now let's see if we can get over VWAP and go take this position and go sell it here. Yeah, the price action labs, bring your questions, folks. I do those for you guys. Okay? Seller at VWAP. And knocked it back down like Rodman defending the basket. But you can see your rotation, right, folks? You see your rotation? There it is. Right, 56 to 64, 65. That's where the position is right now. Now, if we've cleaned it up, I think if we can get over VWAP, we can attract some suckers. I mean, buyers. Oops, did I say that out loud? Right. See, the price action lab is for the people who are in the mentorship class. In the Discord, you can DM me for details if you're interested. What I do is I offer lifetime mentorship, and then we do price action labs, lessons, and then one-on-one stuff whenever you need. And the goal is to make you profitable. Yeah, poke around. No harsh sales pitch. Poke around if you're interested or you're thinking about it. I'll give you a phone call and we can chat. And that goes for anybody who's interested. I'm going to be running this mentorship thing for a while, and then I'm going to stop taking new students. And just focus on the ones I have. Let's see if we rotate back down under 60. There we go. All right, just rotating. Rotating that inventory. So we'll do that until we get all of the supply under VWAP, right? We'll get all the supply under VWAP. And if the order flow comes in, we can take it and go sell it up here, right? And we'll do this up here. And that's what you do on a slow day. Now, if you can't get people to come in and buy over VWAP, we'll go and test these lows again, right? And that area at 47, that's really of interest to me. This 45 to 47, really want to see if that can hold weight. But if we don't get down there, also remember this, right? And if enough people short the market here, right? If enough people short it and we get enough price stability, that'll bring buying. Something to watch out for. You know, I can tell shorts are trapped under 59.40, right? Then they're trapped under 59.20, all the way down to 6. Next short position is 58.90. Sorry, 58.80, right? That's why we have we have a lot of people who are trapped short underneath us going into a holiday long weekend. Um, and then we have month end. So think about agenda, right? None of this is random. Let's see if we can get above VWAP before the session ends. There's a long weekend, Moran, in the UK and in the United States. Memorial Day, start of summer. It's the start of summer. Jam will have the barbecue up and running. So for now, folks, have a good afternoon. Have a good morning. Remember, don't get sucked into false breakouts. Trade what you see. Don't trade the fantasy, trade the reality. I'd love to see a liquidation. It'd be really nice to see a nice liquidation. But we'll just rotate. Rotation works for me. Thank you, everyone. And we'll see you tomorrow. Trade smart out there, folks. Don't get sucked into the chop. And folks on YouTube, please come visit us at the Trading Syndicate. Use that promo code. And we'll teach you a thing or two. Thanks, everyone. Have a good afternoon. Bye for now.